Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one. Welcome to another episode of Mingles with Jingles, where I am once again going to take the opportunity to remind you all that you can take advantage of my NordPass sponsorship. Getting yourselves a 2-year NordPass premium plan plus an additional 1 month for free, all completely risk-free, covered by NordPass's 30-day money-back guarantee. Just head over to nordpass.com/jingles and use code JINGLES to get this deal, and keep those passwords safe and organised. And this week, Akazuki once again has some important news. What's that, Akazuki? There was a data breach at catsinhatseatingcheeseburgers.com and your personal information got leaked. How did you know about that? Did the website administrators email everybody whose information was leaked during the breach? No, they just kept quiet and hoped that nobody would notice. Well then, how did you know that your data had been breached? Oh, I see. NordPass's data breach scanner warned you. Well, I guess you are pretty happy that you went to nordpass.com/jingles and used code JINGLES to get yourselves 2 years off a NordPass premium plan plus a month for free. All completely risk-free, of course, covered by NordPass's 30-day guarantee. No, you're welcome. Don't mention it. I'm just happy to have been of service. So, anyway, this week I noticed an interesting headline over on the PC Gamer news page. Now, I'm not making this up, this is a genuine headline. You ready for this? Overwatch 2 removed hostile architecture from new map at fan request. Now, if you're anything like me, that headline is going to intrigue you, because what the hell is hostile architecture? Is it a bus shelter that mugs you, goes through your pockets for loose change, and then leaves you bleeding in the gutter? So, yeah, I thought, well, I'm probably going to regret this, but I'll take a closer look. I was envisioning that somebody was complaining about the lack of wheelchair access or something in an Overwatch map, and I wasn't actually that far off the mark. I do have to put my hand up and admit that as I went into this story, I was fully expecting something along the lines of political correctness gone mad. And it kind of was that, but it also kind of wasn't. And it left me not really entirely sure how to feel about what was actually happening. Because what was going on was that somebody had noticed on Twitter that the new Midtown map, which is meant to represent New York in Overwatch 2, includes something that is known as a sectioned bench. Actually, there's more than one. There are several of these sectioned benches scattered throughout the level. And somebody had tweeted, and I'm quoting, "With Overwatch being an aspirational universe, I just find it depressing at worst and out of place at best. So what's the big deal about these sectioned benches? I mean, they're just benches, right?" Well, yes and no. What a sectioned bench is just a normal bench, but it's got armrests placed in it at regular sections, hence sectioned bench. Now, this type of bench design never used to be a thing, but over the last 10 years or so, they've become more and more common. Why is this an issue? Well, an unsectioned bench, just a regular bench, a slab, sitting on some legs, a homeless person can sleep on that. But a homeless person cannot sleep on a sectioned bench. So, you begin to see the issue here. The only reason for sectioned benches to exist is to make it harder for homeless people to find somewhere to sleep. Or, to put it another way, to stop homeless people from sleeping on park benches, or in city plazas, where they might offend the nobody who's there in the middle of the night. I don't know what it is that city councils have against homeless people, but this is very definitely a thing. Well, anyway, it turns out that Blizzard Activision actually noticed the tweet, and then did something about it, because in the game's second beta, these sectioned benches are gone. Which I suppose is a good thing. I mean, let's be real here, it's a gesture. Taking sectioned benches out of a video game beta test isn't going to make life any easier for homeless people anywhere. They can't sleep on digital benches, but it's at least a gesture. I mean, you have to put this one in the plus column for Blizzard Activision. It's a very, very small plus, but it is at least a plus. And God knows they could use a few pluses around about now. What with Diablo Immortal, the mobile version of Diablo, coming out and receiving the lowest ever score on Metacritic due to the insanely grindy pay-to-win PvP mechanics. And all of those allegations of sexual misconduct and harassment, they haven't gone away either. The state of California is still suing Activision Blizzard over multiple allegations of misconduct and sexual harassment, which led to the resignation of Blizzard's president, J. Allen Brack, the firing of multiple senior executives, and mass walkouts of Blizzard employees. But, well, then again, maybe this is all just a storm in a teacup. Because Activision Blizzard did conduct an investigation into Activision Blizzard and found that there was no evidence of any wrongdoing at Activision Blizzard. Now, I realise, to the unsophisticated, that might sound a bit like Hermann Goering taking over the investigation into whether or not Hermann Goering did anything wrong at the Nuremberg war trials. And if you do think that, then all I can say is, what are you, some kind of hick? You're clearly not as sophisticated as the good folks over at Activision Blizzard. And I'm not making that up, by the way. Activision Blizzard conducted their own investigation into all of those allegations of misconduct and harassment and concluded, right after they'd fired a bunch of people for misconduct and sexual harassment, and right after Blizzard's president had resigned over the allegations of misconduct and sexual harassment, but their own investigation concluded that no misconduct and sexual harassment had occurred. So I suppose that means in next week's news we'll see that everybody that Blizzard Activision did fire for misconduct and sexual harassment will be suing for wrongful dismissal because Blizzard themselves have just confirmed that nobody did anything wrong. Or maybe that won't happen, because I suspect somebody's full of shit on this one. Well, anyway, moving on swiftly to everybody else's other favourite giant tech corporation, Google, or more specifically, YouTube, which is owned by Google. Yep. YouTube are up to their old tricks again. What I'm talking about here, I don't know if you guys have noticed this either, but please feel free to confirm it in the comments if you have, because, I mean, I kind of hope it is just me, but I also hope it isn't just me, because if it is, I'm going crazy. So this is kind of related to, well, I don't know if you remember a year, maybe a year and a half ago, suddenly, with no warning whatsoever, YouTube adverts started getting out of control. It used to be the case that you could quite happily watch YouTube without having to pay for YouTube Premium and advert-free videos, and you would get an ad at the beginning of the video. Maybe you could skip it, maybe you couldn't, and an ad at the end of the video, and that would usually be it. And then suddenly, overnight, 10-15 minute videos suddenly started getting ad breaks every 2 or 3 minutes. This started happening to my videos. Nobody asked me permission. I'm supposed to be able to choose when the ads run on my videos. In fact, I had chosen when the ads ran on my videos, and I certainly didn't choose mid-roll ads. YouTube just turned it all on by default. So there was a bit of an outrage from the YouTube creators, myself included, and eventually, well, not eventually, pretty quickly actually, YouTube did give us the option to turn mid-roll ads off by default, which I did. I appreciate this is probably going to cost me money in the short term, but in the long term, it probably would have killed my channel, because there were multiple YouTube channels that I used to watch every time they put a video up that became unwatchable overnight thanks to the barrage of commercials every 2 or 3 minutes into their videos. Now, I am sure that this sudden and dramatic increase in the number of adverts that suddenly started running on YouTube videos was completely coincidental and had absolutely nothing to do with YouTube suddenly heavily pushing their YouTube Premium service, the advert-free version of YouTube. Although, I did find it a little suspicious that at least a third of all of these new adverts that were suddenly running on YouTube videos were for YouTube Premium. But I'm sure that was just a total coincidence. So I put up with it. I resisted. I refused to knuckle under and get a YouTube Premium subscription. For about a month, I lasted that long, but the adverts were too much. I mean, watching anything on American television with an ad every 15 minutes is bad enough, but on YouTube you were getting ads every 3 or 4 minutes. It was just unwatchable. So eventually, after about a month, I knuckled under. I'm not proud of it, but I paid for a YouTube Premium subscription, which I still have to this day. And it is good, I have to admit. Being able to watch YouTube videos without any adverts is really, really good, especially given the amount of time that I spend on YouTube. But in this case, it wasn't difficult to see the cause and the effect. You could see why YouTube was suddenly running 4 or 5 times as many adverts, because they wanted people to pay for YouTube Premium. We've seen this sort of thing before, of course. It's like when Bethesda make Fallout 76 a buggy grind fest, or when Ubisoft do the same to Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and then sell you boosters. You know, they manufacture the problem so they can sell you the solution. I get it. It's easy to see what YouTube were doing. This latest shit that they're pulling, however, I just don't see the end game. So allow me to explain. And again, by all means, let me know in the comments if you've been experiencing the same thing. So, in the last, well, I want to say 2 weeks, but it may actually be as long as 3 or 4. Every time I log into YouTube and it goes to, these are your recommended videos, I've been noticing things popping up that never used to pop up before. And I don't just mean every now and then. I mean like 25% of the videos that are being recommended to me are the kind of shit that I have no interest in, I have never looked at before, and I have no intention of ever looking at now. Up until maybe as much as a month ago, my YouTube recommendations have looked like this. Cooking videos, painting and modelling videos, lots of World of Tanks and World of Warships videos, unsurprisingly. I've primarily been seeing the Awesome Epic guys getting pushed into my feed for World of Tanks videos, and the Sailing Robin getting pushed into my feed for World of Warships videos. And this is fine because I like watching both of their videos. It's probably because I've been watching their videos that YouTube's algorithm keeps recommending more of them to me. That's the way it's supposed to work. You've probably noticed that I've been getting into board games quite a bit lately, so YouTube's algorithm had been pushing a lot of board game related video channels. Again, this is fine. This is exactly the way it's supposed to work. And I also like using YouTube to find out stuff about things. I do like watching the occasional documentary type videos. So Cone of Arc, Wendover Productions, half as interesting, Drakinifel. These are all the kind of channels that YouTube has been regularly pushing into my recommendation feed. Up until about a month ago, when suddenly, and for no good reason that I can fathom, YouTube decided that I needed to start watching more sports videos, more J and K-pop music videos, as well as a whole bunch of hip-hop and reggae. You know, these are things that I have no interest in. I have never clicked on a sports video, unless it was a sports documentary. I do like watching boxing documentaries, for example, but I'm certainly not interested in, for example, the highlights of the New Zealand versus Ireland first test on the Irish Rugby TV YouTube channel. I couldn't care less about whoever Arsenal Football Club have just signed or what they think of the team's new football strip. I couldn't give a monkeys about the fact that England's under-19s have won the European final in extra time. The fact that the Wingrove family have just surprised the superfan goalkeeper couldn't interest me less. The idea of spending an entire 45 minutes and 25 seconds watching Mariah Elizabeth trying custom tumblers for the first time would probably put me into a coma. And I don't care how pretty that Korean boy band are, I don't want to listen to their music, thank you very much, YouTube. So this all started happening like literally overnight. And at first, after a couple of days, I thought, have I been hacked or something? Has somebody hacked my YouTube account and has gone around just looking at all of these kind of videos so that I get them pushed into my recommendation feed? That was the only explanation that made any kind of logical sense. So I went and I checked my YouTube history and nope, nothing. There is no logical reason why the algorithm should suddenly start pushing this kind of shit into my recommendation feed. So I was baffled. Well, I thought, well, okay, well, I can do something about it myself at least, because every time this garbage pops up in my feed, I can just click on the nope, not interested button. And then when YouTube asks me why, I'll say, because I don't like to watch this kind of thing. At which point YouTube replies with, got it, we'll tune your recommendations. And for the benefit of those of you who've never actually gone to the trouble of dismissing a YouTube video from your feed and then telling YouTube why, that is exactly what YouTube says. A pop-up appears and it says, got it, we'll tune your recommendations. But here's the thing, They're lying. I've been doing this for a month. And one quick look at my tuned recommendations. Well, let's just see, shall we? Mo Salah signs contract with Liverpool Football Club. I'm assuming that he's some kind of footballer, but because I have no interest in football, having never once clicked on a football video, and every time one's popped up, I've said I don't want to see this, and YouTube has said, got it, we'll tune your recommendations. So I'm only assuming that Mo Salah is a footballer, but I think it's a fairly safe bet given that this video popped up on a recommendation from the Liverpool Football Club YouTube channel. Next, you'll probably be exactly as excited as I was to hear the news that Mini Minter has just gotten engaged and did a whole 20-minute video about it. No, I've never heard of Mini Minter either. This one is apparently a cricket one because it's from the England and Wales Cricket Board channel and the title makes no sense whatsoever. Joe Root dismisses dominant pant. Okay, I'll bite. What in the name of fuck is a dominant pant? Is it like half a trouser that has very strong opinions on things? And why would it need to be dismissed? And what does it have to do with cricket? Actually, you know what? Don't tell me. You know why? Because I don't fucking care. And the list goes on and on and on. And I don't know why. Because I keep telling YouTube, oi, YouTube, no! And YouTube keeps saying, got it, we'll tune your recommendations. And they never fucking do. So I'm out of ideas. If you lot have any theories, I'm all ears. You know where the comment section is. You know what to do. And on that bombshell, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've all had a great weekend. And as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.